Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a new Decca Eloquence box devoted to the recordings for that label of Rafael Frühbeck de Burgos. Yeah, his real name was Frühbeck, but he changed it to de Burgos so people would know he was Spanish. I mean, he added that bit. Well, I mean, most of us always just called him Frühbeck because it was easier. That's what he called himself. So I think we'll stick with Frühbeck, but it's Frühbeck de Burgos. Now, this box actually has, I'm glad they chose this, one of the least flattering photos ever taken of a serious artist. Have a look. There he is. Somebody in a comment mentioned that this was his Count Dracula impersonation or something like it. Really is. I mean, isn't that just awful? I love it, especially the hand, that somewhat creepy hand. I mean, it really should have like tentacular suckers on the end of each finger, and then we would really have something cool to talk about. But it's definitely up there in terms of bad cover art. So it was a wonderful selection. It really was, and I mean that in all sincerity. Now, this set has 11 discs, and he didn't do much for Decca. And what he did do was mostly concerto accompanying. So there's not a lot here in terms of his specialties. He made discs for everybody. He was a journeyman conductor. He spent much of his career at the head of the Orquesta Nacional de España in Madrid, or someplace like that. And then, he had the Berlin Radio Symphony and a couple other orchestras during his career. But for the most part, we know him as someone who popped up now and again on various labels, mostly EMI. And EMI should do a Frühbeck box because he made wonderful recordings, particularly of large works with chorus and orchestra. The Mendelssohn oratorios, his Carmina Burana was amazing, Mozart Requiem, pieces like that. He did Carmen with Grace Bumbry, I think was the Carmen. There were some wonderful, wonderful recordings, and they would make a nice little box from Warner. Here, what we get is a selection of his earlier stuff from the early to mid 60s, for the most part, late 60s, and his concerto things. And some of these are really, really interesting. I mean, the fact that it doesn't really encapsulate his full range of artistry is not a reason not to get the box, because some of the stuff in here is pretty unique. So let's talk about it. We get, first of all, an absolutely excellent version of Mendelssohn's Midsummer Night's Dream Overture and Incidental Music with the new Philharmonia. It's really first class. He had a real feel for the overture, and he recorded it twice, and they're both in here. This one is slightly slower than the other one with the London Symphony. It's about a little bit under 12 minutes, which is pretty quick if you know your Midsummer Night's Dream overtures. It has a wonderful, fantastic quality, and the playing is just great. It's wonderful. The first one is blazingly fast. It's less than 11 minutes, which I think is a record just about for the Midsummer Night's Dream overture, and it's not scrambled, but it's a little breathless. It's kind of amazing that they get through it. And that one is coupled to the Schumann Rhenish, a very swift and not entirely disciplined performance. He was big into Schumann and Brahms, actually, Frühbeck was. And I saw him a bunch of times because he was the principal guest conductor with the National Symphony in Washington, D.C. from 1980 to 88, roughly. And that's when I was at college at Johns Hopkins and also running WJHU. So I had free tickets, complimentary tickets. I was reviewing concerts of the National Symphony Orchestra for WJHU back in those days as classical music director. And so I was in Washington a lot, and I saw a few concerts with him that were fabulous. He did the best Brahms third I've ever heard in my life. It was dazzling, absolutely dazzling. I saw him do the Poulenc Double Concerto and La Mer and Carmina Burana and a few other things as well. And they were wonderful concerts. I mean, they were exciting. Just, viscerally exciting. And he had the orchestra playing wonderfully well. Really, really a fine artist. So I enjoyed his work very much live. But this Schumann is not really that special. Let's not kid ourselves. It's swift and it's exciting, and it's not always tidy ensemble-wise. But it's pretty good. But it's pretty good. I mean, you'll enjoy it. You'll have fun with it. Let me do it with, these are original jacket things for the most part. Let me take these out so we can get the orchestras right. because we had here the New Philharmonia with the Mendelssohn, Midsummer Night's Dream complete. And this was, this is CD2. Here's the Schumann. This is the London Symphony. I'm playing a little bit edgily, but okay. We can deal with it. Here's a novelty. The Mendelssohn and Bruch violin concertos. Well, that's not a novelty, but the violinist is. It's Jan Voicu. There he is, Jan Voicu, the Romanian violinist. I don't know other recordings by him on Decca, anyway. He was better known as a conductor, I think, eventually, anyway, than a violinist. He's no hotshot virtuoso. His playing has a somewhat slender tone, very lyrical, a little bit old-fashioned in the sort of, he does a little portamento things here and there. I don't think these are particularly outstanding recordings of the concerti, but they are mementos of he was an important artist in Romania. His son is still running, from what I know, the Bucharest Chamber Orchestra. He founded it. And so this is a novelty item. I wonder why they made it. I really have no idea. The accompaniments are okay. I mean, they're not a testament to Frühbeck de Burgos for sure. Then we've got, yes, here it is. There it is. El amor brujo, love the magician, the witch. Really, bruja is a witch. Brujo is a male witch, warlock, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's translated in English as Love the Magician. This is the reference recording with Nati Mistral singing. Oh, is she fabulous. This is the one to get. And it's coupled with the Granados Intermezzo from Goyescas and Maurice Ravel. Who's he? Yeah, right. The Pavan and the Alborada del Gracioso. Wonderful, wonderful performances. They're not fast, unlike the Schumann, but they are incredibly well sung and lovingly phrased. And it's great. Then we've got the Albania Suite Espanola. Now, this thing was orchestrated by Frühbeck. It's a good 32-minute long piece, and it was originally coupled with the Faya on CD, not on disc, obviously. So this is a rather short disc, 38 minutes, because it's coupled with Cordoba, also arranged by Frühbeck, by Albanese. And it's a wonderful disc, too. I mean, it's his music. He re-recorded that, actually, for Collins Classics with some other things switched around. But that's the one. Then we've got 3 discs of concertos with Alicia de la Rocha. Yes, the one, the only, the Cacciatorian. Oh, it's a great performance. The Franck Symphonic Variations, which we don't get to hear much anymore. And the Fauré Fantasy for piano and orchestra with the London Phil. This is a hot classic album. It's wonderful for all of that stuff. And then we've got concertos from Spain, which this is another, ooh, baby disc. The Montsalvace Concerto Breve. The Concerto Breve here, it's concerto, it's a concerto. Concerto Breve is actually not too breve. It's 25 minutes long, and it's a brilliant and enjoyable work. And the Carlos Surinach, I love this piece. His concerto for piano and orchestra, which has lots of flamenco stuff in it. It's brilliant and exciting and thrilling, and ought to be a repertory piece. Both of these pieces should. And thank God that he was around and De La Rocha was around to make this record. It's a classic. Now, of course, all of this De La Rocha stuff, including this last one, which is her last recording of Nights in the Gardens of Spain, the digital one, and Albania's Rhapsodia Espanola, orchestrated by Halfter, and Torina's Rhapsodia Sinfonica. This is wonderful music, Spanish music for piano and orchestra. And this was her last recording of all of this stuff, so that was really fun to have. It's a little bit of a glassy early digital recording, but, it's still pretty good. And then, so as I was saying, these 3 discs were all available in the De La Rocha box, of course. But go find the De La Rocha box on Decca. It's gone forever, gone, totally gone. So it's great to see this stuff come back. It really is. I mean, there are 3 of her finest recordings. So yeah, absolutely. And then the last 3 are featured guitarist Narciso Yepes. And we've got really cool stuff here. The Rodrigo Fantasia Paro un Gentil Hombre, well, that we all know by heart, and Maurice Ohana. This is a nifty work. Tres Gráficos, 3 sketches, which is a concerto for guitar and orchestra, about 20 minutes long. Very, very interesting contemporary piece. And it's recorded twice. They did it twice. This is the first one with the Orquestra Nacional de España. And then they redid it in London a few years later. So you get 2 recordings of the Ohana with Yepes, which I think is rather, well, you'll either think it's really cool or really pointless, but I think it's really cool. Then we've got 2 works, one by Salvador Bacarice, however you want to pronounce it. His Guitar Concerto in A minor, which is a very conservative but lovely work. And Federico Moreno Torroba. Oh, God, I love Moreno Torroba's music. It's fabulous. His Homenaje a la Seguidilla with Yepes and the Orquestra Nacional de España. So this is also wonderful and worth having. And then we have his Frühbeck Soul recording for Deutsche Grammophon. And here it is. Maurice Ohana, the Tres Gráficos, the second recording of it, and the Antonio Ruiz Pipo, Tablas para Guitarra y Orquestra. So yeah, wow. Nifty stuff. You're not going to find it. That's why this box is worth having. Whether or not it's a Frühbeck box, sort of is, it sort of isn't. You get some really terrific other stuff. So it's entirely apart from Frühbeck's own recordings. He did a bunch of things for Collins Classics later in his career. I wish somebody would get a hold of those and toss those out too. There was some good stuff in there. But in any case, there you go. The Decca version on 11 CDs, some quite short, but some very, very unusually interesting repertoire. Makes this worth acquiring while you can, because of course it will disappear too, and then we'll have to start all over again. And I don't know where we're going to find. Well, of course, there's the Yepes collections, and maybe someone will redo De La Rocha and Decca. Who knows? But go for this in the meantime. You won't be sorry. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.